But it really was something that like embedded that. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, you introduced me to avocados.
Oh, seriously? Really?
Seriously. You lived next to me that one year. Yeah, and you were like, here, try this avocado toast. I was like, what is this magical green stuff on this toasted piece of bread? So work ethic and avocados.
On our farm.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bird's Eye View. Today's guest is one of the sharpest basketball minds in the game, a player turned coach whose journey spans from Australia to the WNBA. She's an Olympian herself, a former All-Star, a WNBA champion coach, and according to Alexa Philippou of ESPN, she has recently agreed to terms to becoming the first head coach of the Toronto Tempo, one of the WNBA's newest franchises. Calm, detailed, and always about winning the right way. I'm talking about none other than Sandy Brondello. But before we hop into that interview, you know what time it is. It is time for Sue's View. Support for Bird's Eye View comes from the all-electric Toyota BZ. What would convince you to go electric? An EPA estimated driving range rating up to 314 miles, versatile charging capability compatible with most public chargers, available premium JBL 9-speaker audio. With the all-electric Toyota BZ, you can get all of the above and more. Available all-wheel drive models with X mode and grip control give you enhanced traction, and the BZ's portable dual-voltage charging cable gives you flexibility to power up the way you want. The all-electric BZ. One drive can change your mind. Learn more at toyota.com/BZ. Toyota. Let's go places. For Sue's View this week, I'm just going to take a couple of questions that you guys have been asking throughout the course of the season. So let me get right to it. Actually, this one is, what excites you most about the Toronto Tempo joining the league, and how can they be successful? I think what's most exciting about a team in Toronto joining is that it's a team in Canada. This is a country that has had so many great basketball players come out of it, a country that loves this sport. And so for them to have a WNBA franchise is really exciting. It actually does officially make the WNBA global, which is also exciting. But I think it's also, I know, Monica Wright-Rogers, the GM there. I know some of the executives there, and I know they're going to build this in the best way possible. Obviously, they're connected to the Raptors as well. So I just think all the arrows point to this being a really valuable franchise in our league. So I'm excited. And for them personally, they're coming in at a good time. All these vets are free agents. They're going to get probably some, expansion draft picks. So they're in a good spot. All right, next up. Have you ever felt insecure for your development as a basketball player? Great question. So actually my first thought is, when I watch the game today, you can start to see the emphasis that has been put on really for all players to work on their individual game, right? To add things, to continue to add. And that just wasn't the case when I was growing up. Of course, you worked on ball handling and shooting, but to constantly add new moves or add new ways to play the game, that wasn't always the focus. So sometimes I do wonder, what would have my training have been like in my early days if I was really focused on those things, and what kind of player could I have eventually been? So I don't know if insecure is the right way, but I do get curious sometimes of what it could have been like, if I could have added to my bag a little bit more. But luckily, later in my career, I did have a 5-6 year period where that was becoming the focus, and I did get to experience it a little bit. And I do have this one story where I don't even know what I was working on. I think some ball handling into a floater, things that I had never done before. I was doing it at UW, University of Washington, in their practice court. And Kelsey Plum happened to be there. And she was like, hey, can I watch you work out? And it was a moment where, if you've ever tried to do something new, you're probably going to be terrible at it. And I remember thinking do I want this kid to watch me try to do this? And that is when I felt insecure. But I was like, you know what? This is a part of it. Come on in, see how bad I am at this. And then maybe in 5 years, I'll be good at it. All right, last but not least, favorite nickname you've had and least favorite nickname. Well, my nicknames are based around my last name, as we know, whether it's, Birdie. Honestly, Sue Bird as one word is kind of a nickname. So those are my favorites. I think my least favorite / maybe just the most ridiculous. When I was in college, I was playing in a game. I had my shot blocked really badly, like really badly, like soul crushingly bad. And I was mad. I was mad about it. On our way back down on defense, or my way back down on defense, the player who had blocked my shot was running a little bit ahead of me. And in a I went black kind of moment, I just cut across like the back side of her and clipped her leg on purpose. I'm owning it now. And I tripped her. It's true. I did it. And one of the assistants at UConn, Jamel Elliott, caught this on film, pulled me in her office, showed it to me. And she's like, "Did you do this on purpose?" And I said, "Uh-huh." And from that moment on, she called me Sue Beast. So it was no longer Sue Bird, it was Sue Beast. The funny thing is like literally later that year or a year later, I clipped somebody's leg, but totally by accident. And she obviously just doubled down on it. She didn't believe me, but I swear I'll own it when I do it. Anyways, I love your guys' questions whenever you send them in. So always keep them coming. But that's it for Sue's View. And let's get to the interview. Hey, Sandy, welcome to the show. You've had a busy few weeks with a lot of change, but I have to take you back because not everybody knows your full story. They might know your playing career or how you've helped build championship teams in Phoenix and New York, but your basketball journey started like well before that. It started on a sugarcane farm. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Your dad literally built you a basketball court. So I need to hear more about that. What's up with this basketball court?
Okay, we're going all the way back. Hey.
You don't even know what I got prepared for you.
Well, I had to start somewhere. But look, I grew up outside of Mackay, Queensland, in a very small sugarcane community. So, I had to help on the farm. I think that's why I was pretty strong as a young kid. I had lifting pipes and mud and you name it, rocks, and helping on the farm as much as we can. But look, my mum actually couldn't drive. She couldn't drive. So I lived about 40 minutes outside of the city to go on a practice. And my dad was busy and there's a sugar cane has to be cut, to get the sugar. It's like a 6-7 month window there. So he couldn't always take me to practice. So he decided to build something on the water tank at the back. And it wasn't a board. He actually put pieces of, boards, connected them together, painted it white, put the black square on and bored a hoop and that was it. Now, I really couldn't do any layouts because I'd be taken out by the water tank. So I think that's how, everyone talks about my pull-up game and my one-bounce pull-up because it was on a grass court. So that's as many dribbles I could have.
The variety of things that shaped you from that, I can only imagine. There's so many directions to go into. I'm curious what my excuse is for not shooting layups. But that's a whole other story.
Isn't your statue a layup? Come on.
Yeah, that's why I picked it, the irony of it all. Okay, so when you think back to that, obviously growing up in Australia, what are some of your biggest influences or like mentors early on? I mean, clearly your parents gave you an opportunity, but outside of that.
Yeah. Obviously everyone says their parents and it's very true for me. And, they gave me everything that I could live out my dreams and forever grateful for that. But look, at the age of 17, I went to the Australian Institute of Sport, which is now known as the Centre of Excellence, where the great Lauren Jackson, all of them, Penny Taylor, you name it, they all went there. And, I was a pretty shy kid growing up. 50 kids went to my whole school in elementary school. So, it was just, it's comfortable around them. But I went to the AIS and there was a coach there named Adrian Hurley. He was also the Australian men's coach at the time, but he coached the women's team, which was great for me. And, the first month I got there, he goes, "You're going to play for Australia." And I'm like, really? So look, I think he just believed in me. Then I probably believed in myself at that stage. And it came true, like 9 months, a year later, I made my first Opals team. And then played for the Opals for 17 years. So I think that just having someone to believe in you, it goes a long way.
Yeah. So real quick, I don't know if a lot of Americans, to be honest, understand what the Institute is now called Surprise, surprise.
Center of
The center of
excellence.
Yeah. So can you just give because it is really unique. Like it does have some similarities to college, but the team that you have there plays in the pro league.
Yeah, it did back in those days. And look, I think that's most of nearly all the opals, the ones that I coach now and the ones back in, my day, we all went through the AIS. So it was, we're very sporty in Australia. We want to be good. So at a young age, you're targeted. And if they think that you can play for Australia or compete at the world level, you get offered a scholarship to go and train, semi-professional, but really professional. You're not getting paid. At the same times, I stayed 1 year longer because I didn't want to leave my mum in back in those days. So I'd finished my secondary schooling and I went to university. So part-time university, like full-time practice. And we just practiced every single day. We had everything that we needed there. Obviously the facilities, the coaching, the strength and conditioning, the biomechanics, the psychology, everything is in one spot. And, I think it's, I suppose, I don't know, your Olympic training, I don't know if that's similar up in Colorado or not, but all sports were there back in the day at the AIS, not as much now with the Center of Excellence, but, you're around. We had netballers, tennis, soccer, swimming. Everyone is in one spot. And, I loved it. I was there for 2 years. It really helped me become a better player because I come from a very small country town. I had really good coaches, but obviously, I needed to continue to grow and learn the game. And that's where I did at the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport.
Honestly, it sounds fun. It sounds like the Olympic Village a little bit. Like, you're there, you're doing your thing. I guess you have to go to class from time to time, but it's kind of fun.
We did that. And you're just around, just working hard and you get to see all these other sports. And it's a bit like college, but just all athletes. So you know what that's like. That can be fun.
That's actually the only similarity, and this is for the college athletes that are listening, is the summertime. So when you're in college, you stay around in the summertime. It's usually all athletes. We're the only ones taking summer classes. We're working out. That's the only similarity. So Sandy, for those that don't know, describe yourself as a player.
Oh, okay. Here we go. You can tell me if I describe myself as well as you think I can.
I'll keep you honest.
Look, I think I was more offense and defense. I could shoot the ball, but particularly my best play was a one bounce pull up. And as I developed my game, and I extended that to the 3-point line, but I could shoot, I could score in a variety of ways. Very rarely layups. So I was continually moving. I think that was my biggest asset. I think my conditioning was elite. That I'm obviously like you, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'7". So I used to move around a lot and find gaps, and I really spent a lot of time on my shots. So that was my biggest strength. But a high IQ. I was smart on defense. I don't think I was the best defensive player, but I was smart. I understand that.
Yeah, no, when I think back to, and we only got to play together 1 year. It was your final year in the WNBA. I think you were like 36, if that sounds right.
Yeah, I retired at 35, 36,
35, 36. My memories of you are just how you explained it, albeit understanding, like, obviously I learned this later in my career, but I even knew it in that moment, that all that I was seeing as a 36-year-old, I can only imagine what it was as a 21-year-old, as a 25-year-old, as a 30-year-old, right? So even though it was an older version of you, my main takeaways outside of your shooting, how smart you were on defense, was how fit you were. Like your work ethic, how fit you were, and really, being totally honest, the way you took care of yourself. It was kind of like a joke. Again, as a 23-year-old, I was like, oh, Sandy's getting another massage. And then, of course, fast forward to when I'm 33 and I'm basically, it's like 10 years later, I'm getting all the massages. But it really was something that like embedded that. And I don't know if you know this, you introduced me to avocados.
Oh, seriously? Really?
Seriously. You lived next to me that 1 year. And you were like, here, try this avocado toast. I was like, what is this magical green stuff on this toasted piece of bread? So work ethic and avocados.
On our farm. Yeah, I grew them on our farm. And then it's like, okay, I never liked them in the beginning either, but my mum used to have it. I used to think it was gross. But then I'm like, oh, this is actually quite tasty. There you go.
That's amazing.
I didn't know that.
Amazing.
That's
yeah. Fun
New
facts.
fact.
We have a lot of fun facts coming your way.
Here we go.
So Sandy, I don't know if you know this, but you're actually still like one of the top 3-point shooters in WNBA history, like percentage-wise. You shot 41% for your career.
Didn't take enough, I suppose, hey? Should have shot more.
Yeah. We could make that argument. So you're technically like top 10, but a lot of the people who are ahead of you are like, they've been in the league like 1 or 2 years. So I'm like, I don't really count it.
I don't think. How many threes did I take those games? Here's a fact, because when I was playing, remember the 3-point line wasn't in. And when the 3-point line come in, it was a mental block for me, even though I could shoot that far out. It's like, oh, that's a long way out. I don't know if I can shoot that. And then,
really? Wait, what year was this?
Oh, back
like
in the day.
National team stuff?
Yeah. I was in Germany. I know that because a great coach named Olaf Lang helped me, work on overcoming that.
Langer, champion.
Oh gosh, I do remember that. Flashbacks.
That's how the Russians would celebrate Olaf, who was our head coach in Ekaterinburg when we'd win a championship.
That was good times. Good times. Yeah, we've had a lot of crossover here, but once I got over that, it was like, oh, that's so easy. I'm just pulling up and transition. That was my favorite shot.
Yeah. So you mentioned, listen, we've already talked about, you played in Australia, you mentioned playing in Germany. So at what point are you hearing about the WNBA, and at what point are you like, I want to put my name in the draft, or I want to get to this league?
Yeah, look, I think just have to go back. When did it start? 1990. When did the league start again?
Yeah, 1997.
Yeah, 1997. Obviously, I was close friends with Michelle Timms, and she was going to be one of the original franchise players. And Timsy and I were playing with each other in Germany, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to come and visit you. So Olaf and I took a trip over there, and it just blew my mind. I've loved this game since the age of 9. Still love it, even though if I'm in different capacity now. But we went over to Phoenix, and it just blew my mind, like walking down the street. Like Timsy's got this, blonde hair and like she's just been followed by people. It was just crazy. That's why I played the game, and I want, in that regard.
But the Mercury, the Phoenix Mercury crazy. Early. Yeah. Yeah. They had a huge
13,000 people. They were great. It was great. And, for me, it's more like, hey, I want to play in this league. And then it happened the year after, 1998. I was drafted in the 4th round.
I saw that.
I don't think they all, I thought I was a little higher than that.
I don't think they knew who you were. Yeah.
They didn't know. Yeah.
The international scouting wasn't what it is today. Let's be honest.
But yeah, I was drafted by the Detroit Shock in the 4th round and loved it. Nancy Lieberman was my head coach, and, I just loved it. Loved competing against the best.
What were some of the harder adjustments and transitions on the court, like going from international play to now playing against Americans predominantly? Yeah, look,
because the national team, I was playing against the Dawn Staleys and Cheryl Swoops and, all that, Nikki McRae, and, had that experience. So it's more like, I'd like to, get used to playing them day in, day out. Just loved it. It wasn't a big thing because I was strong enough. I talked about my life on the farm, but I was pretty...
you were strong as hell. You were strong as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, you were super strong. I was strong. I was fast. I was, stuff like that. So I just, just enjoyed it. I don't think it was really hard. I think the hardest part for me, when we had the World Cup in 1998, weird, but before the season, I believe, because we went into a training camp with Nancy Lieberman, and no joke, she trained us for 5 hours straight, and I thought I was going to die, and I'm fit. Like, we'd do fitness testing in between, and I'm like, I said, I don't know if I can keep doing this. She goes, don't run so hard. You don't have to be number one. I'm like, that's not how I work. I have to be at the front. I'm a guard. Unless I was, if you go back to 2003, remember we did those 17s, and I was coming back from an injury. I think you lapped me, but then when we played, I was fine.
I have a story about that, by the way. That was Daniel Shapiro, who was our strength and conditioning coach. Now Daniel's with the Clippers. He told Ann Donovan to do that test.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we had never done it before. We never did it after. It was like his big, and I was like, bro, everybody plays overseas. This is unnecessary.
Died. I was dying because I was out injured with my, I was coming off an injury and hadn't done that, but I was dying. I was like, here we go. Come on. You're not old. Keep going. That was
Daniel's fault. Oh, the worst.
Good to know.
So yeah, we're taking it back to keeping it in your Detroit days. I mean to say, in 1999, you played in the first WNBA All-Star game ever. And you've kind of already touched on just like you're there at the start. You're obviously still in the WNBA now. There's been so much growth, but that All-Star game was big. Like it's at Madison Square Garden. Whitney Houston sings the national anthem. And we're similar in that we've seen the league. We were in the league when it was big, when it was owned by NBA teams, when you stay at the best hotels, when everybody had a practice facility. And then obviously, we went through the years where it's been all over the place. So now to see it kaboom in the way that it has, can you even put into words just like the growth you've seen over the last couple of years?
Yeah, that's it has been amazing. It's like I said, I've been in 30 years next year, and I've missed 3 years, and one was the first year, and 2 Olympic years that I sat out, and then I retired. But for me, it's, I love this game, and I love that the players are finally getting the recognition that they deserve. But, back in the day, we had amazing players. You talked about that first WNBA All-Star game, and you look at that picture, and I think it's actually on the wall behind me. I can show you later. But, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, and you name it. These are just big-time players. But, for now, it just wasn't the time. We had great following those early years, and you talked about things kind of changed, ownership kind of changed, and but now we're back where we are now, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of it. It's exciting to see, obviously, the media deal that we're getting, and just people, the amount of people that come to the games, and having obviously coached in New York these last 4 years, and it's been it's been an amazing ride, and it's great to see, because this is. The players deserve it.
Yeah, no, it has been amazing to see. I'm going to keep you in your playing days for just like a couple more minutes before we get to, what has become a legendary coaching career. But here's another fun fact for you as I was doing my little research. So played for Detroit in the expansion draft. You went to Miami, but you actually got picked by the Indiana Fever first.
Yeah, I did.
And do you know who you got traded for?
Yes, Stephanie White.
Stephanie White.
Look at you doing your research.
These are just like, it's in your Wikipedia. It's not even that.
Okay, there you go.
But I was just like, what? It's just like, what an interesting kind of, you coached Becky when she was a player. It's just like all the ways in which we're all connected is so interesting. So so you get traded to Miami, you get to spend just that a couple seasons in Miami?
2 years. So I was drafted in, they traded for me in 2000, but I was sitting out that year. But I'm like, yes, this is so awesome. So I had 2 years, and then the team folded. Can you believe that?
People don't know how good that trip was. That was a great trip. Going to Miami and Orlando. You would get both. That was a great trip. But I thought that was a fun little fact. And then, as I already mentioned, you end up finishing your WNBA career with Seattle, but you got to play with Lauren, you got to play with Tully, fellow Aussies. Like, what was that experience like to be able to finish with them?
Yeah, no, it was great. Look, I was coming off an injury, another stress fracture in my foot, and when Miami folded, then I was like, okay, I'm kind of a free agent now, and got to go in Seattle, and I got to play with you, starting backcourt with you, and Lauren was, she was MVP that year. I don't think we made the playoffs, so we weren't that good.
She might be like one of the only MVPs who didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly. But she was pretty good. She carried us. But look, and it's great. Obviously, when I was drafted with Detroit, I was drafted with one of my best friends, Rachel Spawn, and Kayla Boyd. So that makes the transition easier when you've got, but now it's a global game. I think we because of how we played and coached all around the world, we get to know so many people. So it's so much easier now.
What are some of your, if you have any, like, favorite LJ memories?
Are we allowed to talk about that on here?
Sure.
Love LJ. Love LJ. We go way back, don't we? We went to the Aussie pub nearly every day, I think, if I can remember. I can remember
was it you
myself.
Yeah, I was just going to. Yeah, you I remember that. You came into practice. It was literally like a third-degree burn down the side of your chin. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Lauren still talks about that. But look, I had some good times. Like, I love playing basketball, but it's the memories, you remember the journey with the people, and it was just fun. I know we didn't make the playoffs, but, being around Lauren, she's always a good time. So our friendship's been, it's obviously started when she was 16.
Yeah.
sitting on a mum's lap at the World Cup going, okay, you're a little too big for that. But, just mentoring her a little bit and just watching greatness was like, well, okay, she's pretty good. And then, full circle, comes back after having 2 kids and worked her butt off because she was a little overweight to come back. And she surprised me, but I'm like, hey, you're Lauren Jackson. And she did it, and she came back and helped us win a World Cup bronze and, an Olympic medal. So
I woke up for that World Cup bronze run.
Did you really?
Yeah,
that was amazing.
When Lauren had like the game of her life against Canada, it was I was literally, it was like, I have a 3 a.m. I was like, Megan, you got to wake up. I was like, it's incredible. It's literally like out of the movie Caddyshack when the guy plays his like perfect golf game. It was insane watching her play that game.
And it was amazing. Like I can remember she was at 28 points and she's gone, Spagger, so that's my nickname. And, I'm like, not Sandy. Hey, Sandy to you, I'm your coach. No, I'm not. Only kidding. But she's going, Spagger, I'm tired. You got to take me out. I'm like, no, you got to get 2 more points. You'll be fine. But that was an amazing, and just shows how great she is. I mean, and tough.
Yeah. Oh no, incredibly tough. So many good memories with Lauren. But your national team career, not so shabby. Did you know you're the 3rd most capped Australian player? That includes 302 games, 4 Olympics. You've got 2 silvers to your name, 1 bronze, 4 World Cups, 2 bronze medals with that. What does it mean to you? You've already talked about how very early the seed got planted for you to represent your country. When you look back, like obviously you're still doing it as a coach, but as a player, what did that mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, everyone talks about what's your greatest highlight. And for me, it was playing for Australia, and putting the green and gold on, including the bodysuits. But did that. But like,
I tried one of those on once.
Did you really?
There's a picture somewhere.
Not happening.
Lauren probably has it.
Lauren loved it, but she looked great in it too. But look, I think those just representing your country, and that's probably the highlight of my career. And a bit, it stacks up there. I loved playing. It was hard. People, I waited until I retired to had children because I wanted to be a mum. But I'm like, no. This is, I want to be, achieve everything I can in the game. And it gave me so much. And I mean, it still does. So it's pretty cool that I'm still a part of this great game of ours. And at the age of how old am I? 57.
You're 57?
I know. Can you believe that?
I would never have guessed that. I mean, I know the math too. I just said, I know when I played with you, I know I was 23. I know you were 36, but wow, you look great. Yeah. Still fit. I see you.
Yeah, trying to get back in the gym once I'm back in Phoenix. And during the season, I don't work out so much, but, tired.
Just a little busy. Just a
little bit busy.
Support for Bird's Eye View comes from the all-electric Toyota BZ. You've been thinking about going electric. You've searched the internet, admired friends' EVs, but you've been hesitant to take the plunge. The all-electric Toyota BZ might just be the electric vehicle you've been waiting for. The Toyota BZ is a battery electric vehicle designed to do more. The BZ's advanced all-electric powertrain features an EPA-estimated driving range rating up to 314 miles. All-wheel drive models have 338 horsepower and near immediate torque you can feel. And you can charge the way you want to. BZ is compatible with most public chargers. But the features don't stop there. Regenerative braking paddle shifters let you dial in the level of regenerative braking to suit your personal preference. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and SiriusXM seamlessly connect you to all your devices. And an available panoramic view moonroof lets you take in the scenery wherever you roam. Did I mention its striking design and sleek, powerful lines? Go from skeptic to electric in the all-electric Toyota BZ. The all-electric BZ. One drive can change your mind. Learn more at toyota.com/BZ. Toyota. Let's go places. You really are, in reality, you're only like one of a few former players that have like truly made the transition, have had longevity on both sides. I think the Athens Olympics was like your last playing for the national team. You kind of transitioned into coaching at that point. What made you want to be a coach?
Oh, I loved it. I just loved the game. And it was, I suppose my boyfriend, fiance, now husband, was a head coach. So when you're around watching the preparation and what goes into it. And I was a kind of a player that took care of my body and studied, my opponent and, everything. And, it was my passion, and it still is. And I still love it. Even with the highs and the lows that come with it, I just love it because it's given me so much and allowed me to be the person that I am today. And, but yeah, I thought I knew I was nearing the end of my career because I had too many injuries. Like I was getting tired of okay, this is crazy. Stress. I took about 3 stress fractures in my navicular, and it just got hard coming back. And as you get older, it makes it harder and harder too. I'm like, okay, these are all younger ones and I can't keep up with them. But it's like, okay, I want to coach, and I wanted to coach in the highest level. So what I did, straight after the, Athens, I was all office coaching in Valencia at that time, and I was just reaching out, and there was 2 job openings. One was in New York, and the other one was at the San Antonio Silver Stars with Dan Hughes. And, we just hit it off, and he gave me a job, and forever grateful for that because that started this journey, and here I still am.
What did you bring with you from that player's mindset? Like, what about being a player did you take with you into coaching? And how did that prepare you, actually?
Yeah, look, obviously being, 18 years, being around some amazing athletes and not just my preparation, but their preparation, and then the playing in the Olympic Games and the World Cups and experiencing different cultures. I take a little bit of everything, to be quite honest. But in the end, what you see is what you get. You've known me for quite some time. I don't think I've changed too much. I am who I am. And I say it's my authentic. I'm very genuine, and my values haven't changed from when I was a kid. I treat people as I want to be treated, but I think I know the game of basketball, but I'm continually the game changes. So it's just evolving with it and being open-minded and being surrounded by great people that, can inspire you to be better. And, I still have, I love continuing to grow, like in the leadership, area, and I've got some great mentors as well. So it's been a fun journey, and it's not over yet. I've still got things I want to achieve.
Yeah. So how would you describe? You kind of talked about your values, and I do agree. I think there's like one of those. I don't know if it's a famous quote, but it's definitely a quote I hear often, where it's like, wherever you go, there you are, right? Like who you are is who you are, and it's going to show up no matter what. So how would you describe your coaching style and philosophy? Like what is it that you focus on?
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing, because like my generation's different than, the generation of today, isn't it? And but I think
same even for me.
Yeah, I think I would have matched this generation, better in terms of, as a shy kid growing up and all that, but, it became mentally tough. The coaches were like more dictators. You're going to do it this way. I'm not like that. The most important thing for me taking over any kind of team is just building relationships and not just getting to know players and, building that trust and the respect, because it goes both ways. And I told you, like, I'm not a dictator. I'm I want to be a collaborator. I don't, I think I'm pretty good at what I do, but I always want to be better. And I'm always listening, like, especially to players. I love their feedback, because they're out in the court and, you always continue to learn. And that the relationship's the most important thing from the beginning. Like, I don't come in and saying I know everything about X's and O's. It's no, I'm going to build a relationship. And then culture isn't big for me. If you're like, I think that's, just, what are the values? And it's not my culture. People say, I know that it's thrown out there a lot, isn't it? It's more like, well, what kind of team do you want to be? So it's not my team. It's what the players decide. It's the values. So then it's our job so I can hold them accountable to what those values are, because that's what kind of legacy do we want to leave. I think that's important because team, you need alignment, for everybody. Mm-hmm. So whatever the players agree on, I mean, it's alignment from everybody, including the coaching, the performance, the front office, and I think that's important. And then it's X's and O's. I think I've been in this game as a player and as a coach, and I've continued to learn. My Phoenix team played differently than the New York team because of the players that we had and the evolution of the game and, the versatility, how players continue to get better in the modern game. Everyone talks about pace and space, but you still have to be adaptable to put your players in the best spots to have success. And that's always a challenge. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But being adaptable, I think that's important as a coach. But the collaboration piece is important for me as well too, because if I don't know the answers to it, I'm going to try and find it and ask people that do, and I don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but I think I know how to lead and get the best out of players. So I think that's, that's how I am, but I always want to continue to get better, and that's what I love about this game, because it continually changes.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think the times that I'm asked, generically, what traits do you like to see in a coach? The first word is adaptability. Like, you have to be able to, or else it's just going to be like, square hole, round peg kind of a vibe, where if you're just trying to make players be like you. So you have to have some of that in you. So I couldn't agree more. Do you think, given that every coach has their own style, their own way, and there's, obviously multiple ways to be successful, do you think the temperament that is required from a coach can be developed? Or do you think that's like an innate thing?
Yeah, it's a great question, because that's probably one thing I didn't talk about. My authentic self, I'm very calm. I don't, even under pressure. I may be feeling pressure, but you may not see it, because I think I'm calm under pressure. And I've learnt that from my playing career, obviously, playing in, getting our butts kicked by USA in gold medal games. But as it's just my personality. Like, I don't try and be something that I'm not. And, I think I am very calm. I'm more about what's the solution? How do we be better? What's the process? And the collaboration part here. And can it be taught? Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. This is who I am. I mean, I don't, and I know I say this a lot, and people play thing, here we go. I don't get too high or too low.
Yeah.
Because I can't let my emotions dictate my decision making. And
do you think you learned that over time, though? Like, was there ever a point, probably more so as a player, maybe as a coach, where it did a little bit and you had to learn that, or you just always had it?
Look, I think I've always had it, but sometimes you can go, there's always two forks in the road, isn't there? You can go off court a little bit, and you're like, okay. I've coached some really great teams. There's high expectations that I had to, a few years ago, I had to learn even though we didn't play great and we won, I had to find joy in the wins. Because otherwise it just becomes stress that you're trying to be this perfect team. And when does that happen? You chase perfection, but you're going to, just want to keep getting closer and closer. So I had to remind myself to have to enjoy the process as well. And, even then when we didn't win. And when we lose, it's more like I have a thing for myself that, I can be mad and, and not happy, but the next day I've let it go, because I focus on what we can control right now. And that just helps me. It's just I don't yell at the refs a lot. I try not to in that regard, but occasionally, only because it takes me away from my focus of what I should be doing and seeing what's happening on the court and how I can be effective. And that's probably why I stay calm, because I can't do too many things at once from yelling at the officials. That's all I'm worried about.
Right. No, honestly, I'm similar. I mean, you get mad at the refs from time to time, but that's why, I wasn't a shit talker. And the minute I was getting too much into too much focus on the refs, it was taking away from something. Yeah. But over time, you have to learn that. Okay, so you bring up just this idea of pressure, it exists. And I'm curious, when your teams are feeling the pressure of a season, or maybe they're hitting adversity at some point in the season, what's your approach? And this is kind of like a two-parter. What's your approach to keeping them focused and confident? But then I'm also curious how you do it for yourself.
No, great. I mean, great question. I think, look, in the past, I've had coaches that when we lost, they would come in and not talk to you. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's actually really effective dramatic leadership.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about us. So, they're the things you learn. Okay, I'm not doing that when I'm a coach. And I don't, because, players are already beating themselves up because I was a player. I looked at myself, man, I was bad. So it's more about, you have to keep players confident and on course, but still hold them accountable of how we can be better. So I try and focus on the solution, not the problem. Okay, this is, this is what's happening. Well, how do we be better? What's the process for it? So I think I've done that probably my whole career, and I don't blame, I'll take the blame of everything. That's how it should be. I'm the coach, I'm the leader. But I want players to be confident in who they are, but I want them to be heard as well. So I'm always like, hey, so what are you seeing out there? What do you think we need? Collaboration, because maybe their ideas are better than mine, and that's okay, because we're in this together. And I think that's when you see connection and chemistry come together, greatness can really happen. And that's happened, when we 2014, 2024, I mean, doesn't mean the seasons are easy, but when you win, all the adversity, it's helped shape you to be the best team that you can be.
Absolutely. But what about you? Like when you go home, how do you either refocus, deal with the adversity?
Yeah.
Does it come in the form of like, let me just distract myself? Let me throw on a movie?
Yeah. Probably that. Look, I'm not someone to go back and watch the game straight away. I know what happened. Like, I'm fatigued after a game now as a coach. So when I don't want to be around too many people. So the Crown Club, I wouldn't be going to the Crown Club when we lose. I'm out. So lucky we won is a lot more. So I'd hang out with, Renee Stubbs and we'd debrief there occasionally. And, great, just someone who's in the, has been there, but,
No, Renee wants to know. Renee, this is what I really appreciate talking to Renee because like she's genuinely curious and genuinely just wants to understand. So it's actually fun.
No, and it's good for me because, she's in the tennis world and she has coached some amazing athletes as well too. And that's good for me. And like people, because there's this support. We're friends, but she's going to always be honest with me. But I suppose when it's a really bad loss, I don't love it, but I stay, sometimes I'm going to get on the team if it's needed, if I feel there's slippage. But I think one of the strengths is I can see things, I can read things without anything being said. I've been doing this for my whole life.
Yeah,
you can kind of work out, okay, I need to go talk to, I know a locker room and I can read a locker room. And that's why I spend a lot of time in the culture because, it has to become your vulnerable space if you're going to, to be the best team that you could be. But I suppose for me, what I would do is typically go back and watch a TV show. And that's how I just let it go. But then I'll go to sleep because I'll go to sleep easy. Now, as a player, I wouldn't go to sleep. I'd go to sleep like 4 a.m. But as a coach, I go to sleep. But then during the night, I'll wake up and then it's just replaying over, I should have done that, But the next day, I just had to learn. And maybe that's something I have learned as I've gotten older in my career is that, you can't win them all. But in the morning, I have to move on because the players don't need negativity. We need solutions and constructive feedback about, what's the plan for us moving forward and how do we need to get better.
Man, being a coach I just feel like where I would run into an issue is lack of control. And it's not about being a control freak or not. It's just when you're a player, you have so much, not always, but you're the one doing it. So is that something that was like an adjustment for you? Like now you literally can't go out there and just hit a shot or run the right play or, set the screen or whatever. Is that difficult?
Yeah, no, it's not really, to be quite honest. Like because I've been out there in the play, and I mean, you're one of the smartest players. It's like, okay, just, you these players that can control a game too out there.
Right.
And for me, like, obviously, you have a system in place that you want, you think that could have success. But with the system, I always say there's a lot of freedom, the spacing, this decision-making, that comes from trusting the players and putting them in, for that, like not telling them you need to go A to B to C, because that's not how the game's played. It's very, we're all trying to create the space and, the double gaps and put players in the right situation. So it's just trusting that, hopefully that you've done enough that they make the right decisions. But they're human. Just like I don't make always the right decisions, neither do they. And it's, I feel like I have a good feel for the game because I've been around it and try to, okay, let's see how they're defending certain ones. Well, let's run this play. Sometimes players need that. You possibly didn't, but some other players have needed it. And so I give them what they need at that time. But I wanted, I didn't want them to feel pressure of running something special. Like, no, you guys are the smartest basketball players out here. Like the system's in place to give you a little structure, but then you've just got to read and react to how the defense is playing you and having the freedom out there to play to your instincts. Because, I think that's when, greatness can really happen.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, I definitely needed it. It was always a gift when, you're in the course of a game and, you're running things the way you maybe planned or prepared. But then when the coach just goes, hey, do this. It's kind of like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You gave me a play off. I really appreciate it. It was always such a gift when that happened. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. It always cracks me up because you have to run your plays every day. You have to go through them. You have to script them. You do, or else you brought up the word slippage. I'm like, yeah, that always happens. People forget. People, in the heat of the moment. But at the same time, you very rarely get exactly what that play is drawn up to get. And you have to have like the open mind at the end of it. So you obviously already touched on, the greatness you played with. You've coached it, whether it was Lauren with the national team, Diana Taurasi in Phoenix, Penny Taylor on both, most recently Stewie. Like we're talking Hall of Famer, all-time greats.
Yep.
How did they influence your coaching style?
Yeah, I mean, so much because they're just great players. And, I always say like Diana, we're in Russia together and I'm like, I don't get Phoenix without Diana, So thanks, Diana. She's great. But, everyone talks about, how was it like to coach Diana? I'm like, Diana, the bigger the game, the better. She just made everyone else better. And she would love on you. And, I was courtside to watching greatness on so many occasions. But how do you control her strong personality? I said, sometimes you have to learn to push it and sometimes you got to let it burn because I think you got to let players have some passion. I don't want them to be in boxes, but there's a right way and a wrong way to act. But Diana had this competitive edge like no one else. And you've seen it, you've been with it and don't poke the bear.
Nope.
We've seen that a few times. Hey, I'd say the same thing about you. Remember 2018, it was the most epic series. We poked Sue Bird and that didn't
Usually
end up well to us.
Usually I'm not good when that was a different scenario. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you or not, but that 2018 series, I remember watching you guys play against Connecticut in the round before, single elimination.
Yep.
And my takeaway from that was, Diana getting, Jasmine Thomas is like getting all hype in Dee's face after, drawing a charge or whatever it was. And Dee's interview after was like, yeah, people like to clap in your face. They like to post Instagram posts, like basically like, we're moving on, right? And I remember it clicked for me. And I had a big meeting with our team. And I was like, I don't care. Yeah. I was like, I don't, especially to Alicia Clark.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care what happens in this series. If you get the call, if you don't get the call, don't react at all.
Yeah.
I was like, don't give her
Smart.
any ammo.
No.
Which, by the way, it's not easy because she provokes,
Yeah.
Even when
100%.
she's not like verbally doing it. It's just like her style provokes.
Yeah.
But that was like a big factor for us where it was like, don't. Like, even if you play the best defense of your life, AC, don't say a word about it.
Yeah.
But
Which
that was
smart,
one of
because you know her. You know her very well. But that was
you can't give her the ammo.
That was an epic series. You guys win 2 on your court, we win 2 on our court, and comes down to the wire. And we've got some momentum until we hit you in the nose. And I think it was your own player, Stewie, but pissed you off. And then you're making threes from halfway, and I'm like, what the? Okay, here we go.
I love the legend. She was making threes from half court.
You were. She was like, you God, this is Ken. But yeah, no, that was a great series. But yeah, like Diana, I mean, she's great. Like, Sue, for you, it's like your poise and just your IQ, but also that competitive edge. Like, you're quiet, like me, but you have this fire burning inside, whereas Diana's is more out there,
Yeah.
Greatest shooter of all time. I mean, Candace Parker, the versatility, the positionless from the beginning, how she changed the game and the collaboration. That's why I think I like the collaboration because that's what it's about. Because like, hey, we all can bring great ideas, but once we get out there, what's the alignment? And then continue to help each other get better. It's not just the coach telling the player to get better. The player can help the coach get better. And that's what I've enjoyed along the whole way. And, if you get to coach Stewie, there's no better superstar than her. And, I love her. And for her, it's just her work ethic, her professionalism, her consistency, and she's just a really damn good player. And, and I think lately, like I always wanted her to be a leader early in her career, but I'm like, Oh, this is new for her. She had Sue Bird as her leader, telling her what to do. But it's been really great just to watch that evolution of her leadership, but it's still through actions, which I love. She just goes out there and does a job and to the best of her ability. But, I've had the privilege of coach so many great players who I feel like they've pushed, molded me to be better because everyone is different. You're not all the same. So, you got to, you get to know them on a personal level and what makes them tick and hopefully have a good enough relationship that it's, you have that mutual respect and trust.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So we've talked about the players that you've coached, the greats. Now I want to know the ones you've coached against and who is and you can keep it all time or you can keep it more recent, like whatever comes to mind. Who's the hardest to scout against?
Oh, geez, that's a good one.
By the way, you never really had to play against BG in her prime. So
correct.
Consider yourself lucky for that.
Yeah.
But
that
who's
was
the hardest to game plan against?
Yeah, look. Oh, there's so many. I mean, there's so many good ones out there. And in New York, what we had, especially when we won 2024, we had versatility where we could switch a lot and the toughness. That certainly helped us. Yeah. And we had Stewie being a roamer and, just the IQ and the people at the rim. I think that was great. But Asia, I think Asia's really hard to defend. Mm-hmm. She needs a crowd around her. We were just lucky that, that they had some non-shooters around it. Hopefully they're having a bad night. But she could, she was just hard. I think Caitlin Clark is really hard to guard, when she's healthy, just her ability. She gave us a lot of handful this year and, she can shoot it from way out, but she's can pass it. And I think she's been a tough one. But look, I think every game there's, that's what I love about the game. Every team, all the players are different. It's just game planning and coming up with the right game plan. And when it doesn't work, it's like, okay, how can we do this? And, yes, it's analytically driven and trying to work it out. But sometimes the analytics may say, go under on her. She's not shooting so well. And okay, well,
that's the best game of her life. Yeah.
She's just made 5, shots by what? No, let's change it. That's when I'm I always say analytics, it's great information. It gives you knowledge, but then sometimes you got to see how the game's going. And
analytics is great if you're playing a team in a 30-game series. Yeah, it'll pan out. But when it's the one quarter and the one moment, that player you go under, they're hitting the 3 just cause. Yeah, non-shooter. She can't shoot it, and they make 3 in a row. You're like, okay, let's play a little closer now. Come on, that's when you think, you just got. This is what I see. That's why I say I'm human driven and data informed, and I know the analytics world is big. I love the analytics, but sometimes you have to go by the eye test as well. So I just thought of something. Bringing up BG, you obviously coached BG and Diana, and your 2014 team is arguably, goes down as one of the best. So there's a ton of players I can name on that team. But as a duo, did you learn anything from coaching them as a duo that you maybe helped you with the Stewie Sabrina duo?
I mean, I think anytime you're going to learn, because, to win, you need talent, don't you? And you need talent that meshes well together. And Diana and BG, and Diana's one of the smartest, but I think, and I always say this too, passing is a skill that's kind of slipped now. And
I agree.
You and Diana were at the front. I think this is great. Diana, we could put here and she'd know where to pass it to BG.
Yeah,
but
she's
so many
a
times,
BG whisperer.
She was. I mean, she knew the
really
right,
was.
Angles, but everyone else they'd be bounce passing it to BG. I'm like, people, what are you doing? Come on. But look, it's just how their connections and how much the communication, I think that's the most important when you see combinations come well together is they're working it out as well. And then when I'm I get their thoughts, but then I'm bringing them together. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think this would help? They're defending you like that. I think it's always a collaboration because they're out on the court. And I think sometimes that feedback from the players really helps. But, it's just for me, it's the communication and making sure they're both great players. Look, you got to, they're all important. So you have to make sure that they feel it as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's so important because I want my players to know that I do trust them. And obviously your best players, you probably have a little bit longer leash as they should.
Mm-hmm. As they should. Where do you rank that 2014 team? For those that don't know, it's like we're talking Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Penny Taylor, Candice Dupree, DeWanna Bonner, and you had great vets. You had Eva off the bench, Annette off the bench, Erin Phillips. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but where do you rank that team?
Oh, I mean, right up. That's probably one of the best of all time in that regard. And, they came off, I don't think they made the playoffs the year before, and they just had a lot of injuries. And, how lucky am I? I get to come in and,
you won in your first year.
Yeah, I'm like, that certainly helps.
Yeah,
so,
coach of the year.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, and it was good. It's more like, I suppose sometimes you just get the right team and that matches your personality but it's driven by a player that, Diana's just totally bought in. And when you have alignment with your best player, great things can happen. And we did that. Now, the year before, Diana was like the highest scorer. Now, the team didn't do well, but they had a lot of injuries. She could score the ball. We know that, one of the greatest of all times. But the following year, it was more like, we've got a really great starting five here. If we can all score in double figures, that's going to be our strength. And Diana's, her scoring dipped, but she was the highest assist giver in that year. So she wanted to win, you know what I mean? And that's the unique things, that it wasn't about the stats. And you're the same like that. It wasn't about the stats. It's about playing in the right way and winning championships. And Diana led that. And we just had a real cohesive unit. Penny was injured, came back from injuries. Well, 6-3 to start. I know that's still pretty good, but I replaced her once she was healthy. I put Penny in the starting lineup. We went 16 in a row.
Yeah, very quickly.
That's amazing.
You guys finished 29-5. You started 6-3. You finished the season 29-5.
Yeah. And I sat Diana and Penny out at the end of the year, and I was really pissed because we lost the game in Atlanta. And I'm like, damn, and not that
these are the things you remember.
But I didn't. And that's terrible. That sounds like my ego.
No, these are the things we all remember. I could sit here and give you like some mundane detail about something that happened that has nothing to do with anything in a lot of ways, but just like sits there and stings. And I don't mean to bring up like another potential like sting, but your time in Phoenix was bookmarked with the finals. 2014, you go to the finals, you win. 2021, you go on this amazing run, you get to the finals. What are your memories of that run? And I imagine it still stings a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously you get to the finals, you want to win. 2018, you took that joy away from me, but it was in the semifinals, so it didn't quite get to the final. And then 2021.
Honestly, no offense to DC, it was the finals.
Yeah, it was. I know, exactly. We kept saying that. But like in 2021, we had a lot of injuries. Dinah was out for half a year. We just trying to get everyone on the same page. And once we did, it kind of took off.
Lost
and
Kia Nurse in the finals.
Yeah, we lost Kia Nurse. It's the same thing against you. We lost Sancho Little, remember, against the 2018. So, Kia was such a big piece for us. But we came back and, we had the game 5 against Vegas. Dinah, that's some of the best basketball I have seen her play, that semifinals against Vegas. She was, unconscious. If anyone goes back and watch, that's pretty impressive. But, we made it there. But then the thing is, we finished game 5 and then 2 days, we had to fly to Chicago and we had to play the next day. I'm like, of course we're not going to win that game. We're fatigued and emotional. Diana just had her first baby. Penny was having a baby straight after game 5. I'm like, we're not winning that one. I thought we had chances, but we didn't get there. And Chicago, they had a terrible season and they got it together in the playoffs and they had a really good team and played well. But that was the end. And people say like, that's weird. You made the playoffs and then, you're not renewed there. And I'm like, it was time. It was time.
What is your... Actually, I'm really curious, you bring that up. I was going to bring it up anyways. Like, what is your thought on that? Because I think what a lot of people don't understand, and by people, I'm talking about those that aren't in it, right? Players understand, coaches understand, franchises, GMs, we kind of understand there's like a window. There's like this organism, right? It's like the group dynamic of a pro sports team. This is something that Jenny Busek and I would talk about a lot, just like understanding that. And sometimes things do have to get shook up or changed. And, it's funny because you're I don't know if you know this, you probably do, but you're one of only 2 WNBA coaches to win championships with different franchises. It's you and Brian Agler.
Yeah.
So clearly, and you've both kind of like had to part ways. You've had to move on. And clearly you're successful. So how do you just like think about that? And honestly, this is more of like an educational moment for people that aren't in it and don't understand.
Yeah. Look, I think in the 2021, once we lost in that, the fourth game, disappointing, but I kind of knew. I just knew. I said, this is the end. This is the end. And even though it can, look, I think I was probably a little bit more sadder on that front than I was with New York. And we can get to that too, just because my children go to school in Phoenix. Then it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my kids? And, that part was the hardest part, but it was the right thing. Like, Diana and I have spoken about in the years past, it's more like, no, Dee, it was time. You needed a new voice and I needed a new challenge. I had done as much as I thought I could. And, on both sides, I think you have to shake it up a little bit. And it's rare. I was 8 years in Phoenix. That's a long time. So, I had a great GM to work with and Jim Pittman. And we had, went to the playoffs every single year. Some were better than others and, learn a lot along the way. But it was just time. And the same goes to New York. I know, we just win a championship. Everyone's talking about that. And, I knew, I just think it was time. It was time. I felt it. I didn't think I could, even if it went that way, I probably couldn't have done it, in that regard. It was just time. Players need a new voice and, just need new challenges. And because, if the alignment gets a little bit off, astray, it's time to move. And, usually it could be players, no different than players moving or not bringing them back. And now it's just the coaches moving. And I think that's a part of the business. It is a big business here and teams have to do what they think is best. And, obviously mine have both been after going to the, finals, but not the championship. In 2021 was the championship. But it was, like I said, I have just fond memories. I still live in Phoenix in the offseason where Jada goes to school. So, but yeah, it's a part of, this is my career. So it's been a good one, but I still got lots to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but at the same time, when it comes to, you and New York parting ways, at what point did you really know that? I don't mean like specifically, how about I'll break it down. Like you're sitting in media with Stewie and Sabrina and a reporter 5 seconds after the season's over, asks you that question. Like, what is this moment like? I guess you kind of already said it. You weren't necessarily shocked, but just like what's happening for you in right after the season ending?
Yeah, look, obviously it's tough. We want to go to the finals and we're the champions from last year. And the hardest thing, and it, is to repeat. It really is hard. Now, our team had changed a little bit because of expansion. We lost some really good players. We lost, Laney was start of the year. It was different. And then we had all these injuries, not just to our role players who are important, but to our best players. And it was hard. It was a very disruptive season and trying to find it. But I just felt, I just felt that it probably wasn't the right fit anymore, to be quite honest. And, obviously it was a leadership decision there. And I work best when I'm in a partnership. And so I felt like, if that can't be what I think it should look like, and that doesn't mean I'm how it should look like is, A, B, and C, because, you have to have that. It was probably time. And then I always say 4 years, I had 4 great years. I got to win a championship. That will always be special for me. I think what we've done in New York and to be a part of that, it was fantastic. And, if they want to move on, that's fine. And that's, people say like, it's been exciting since then, just navigating this different
you've
world.
Been on your own free agency.
Being a free agent. I mean, that was interesting too. But, it's, obviously it's been overwhelming, but it's been nice. And it's, I just have so much more to give. And I just love what we do. And one door closes, another one opens. But I have, it was a privilege to coach in New York and to win that championship with some amazing players. And those relationships with those players will continue because, we did something special. And, I think I led the team in what I think was the right way.
I do want to ask about just one of the comments that Jonathan, the GM, made during his press conference, just about how he considered a change even after 2024 had you guys not won.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the expectations were unrealistic, or do you have an understanding around championship or bust mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose a bit of the both, to be quite honest. And I think it's hard to win. So you've been there. We've been
Yeah.
players, so we kind of know the process, and and the pressure's there. I understand the pressure. We want to win. We want it so badly, especially after we lost in 2023. The game. I know. Spoken about evolution and innovation. It's like you got to try and put your players in the best position to be successful. And we were high up on net ratings and offensive ratings and stuff like that. But in the playoffs, it gets harder. It becomes a defensive game. And in 2024, we were the best defensive team in the finals, and our offense slipped. Now, there probably was not alignment on what that looks like and how we could get better. And, sometimes you need players to do that as well too. And, so that was the disappointing part. We had just won, but you probably didn't have as much joy as you'd wanted to, because it was more like, well, you didn't do this. Yeah, I wasn't perfect. Yeah, I made some mistakes. Just like, obviously the players do. We're like, we didn't shoot the ball well, but we won a championship. It doesn't matter how, because doesn't matter how. We won a championship. We did it together, and it should be a special time.
Well, I mean, you can't rewrite history. You guys did win in 2024, which I imagine was incredibly satisfying to get redemption from 2023, losing in the finals, but then also bringing the New York Liberty their first ever WNBA championship. What are just some of your fonder memories of that run?
I mean, it was all great. Like it's just the players, and you've won championships. Have they always gone smoothly?
No, never.
No, but that's
it's
part of
just the next
adversity.
year. Yeah, it's the next year when you're trying to repeat and you look back and you're like, why is this so hard? We did it last year.
It's so easy to win. Yeah, we're going to repeat, let's just, we've got the best players. I'm like, every team has great players. And sometimes it's not about, it's just, look at Vegas this year, epic. They're a 500 team, and then they just find a way out. Their leadership, they take over, they go to another level. That can happen. You have to have that belief. You have to have that trust and that support. And, that's big for me. And, 2023, it was disappointing. I mean, that hurt. It stings. It took me a long time to rewatch that game. And, you just go back. And I don't go no, I think, oh, God, what I should have done this. This is what we need to do. This is how we got to be better. But the part of the journey, that's what makes it special, because we won 32-8 games in those 2 years. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, it's more like, okay, we can't win every game. So you have to have those experiences to learn, to go through that adversity. And we all had adversity. But I think the players just came together and understood, accepting their roles. And doing something that was bigger than themselves, and we found a way. Now, obviously, Game 5, that was spoken about a fair bit,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But we won. You know what I mean? And of course, we won. That's all that should really matter. And it was epic, and it was just a fun experience to be a part of in that parade in New York. And obviously, were you at the party after party? That was pretty cool
after the
too.
game. Yeah, I was at that one. Ellie on the bar. I was at that one.
It was just, it was just fun. It was just more, just celebrating with, people that were always there for me, but had amazing players that connected. But when you won one, you want to win again. And I want to keep winning. I want to win. My narrative hasn't changed. It's just now I have to go win with a different team.
Yeah. Well, your legacy in New York will forever be that of a championship coach, bringing them their first title. You actually are the winningest coach in Liberty history. For your career, you have a 60% win record, coaching more than 400 WNBA games, just giving you some stats. When you reflect, or how do you reflect on your success, like overall? And I think I actually ask players this often when I bring them on. What are you most proud of in your coaching career?
Someone still wants to employ me. That's a good thing, isn't it?
When one door closes.
Someone still thinks you're good enough and you can help the team. And look, I think just the ability to have longevity in this game and continue to evolve and be better. Like, I don't want to, like, the game has changed. I know that. Like, I want to continue to get better. I want to lean into the players, but I still want to be my authentic self. And I think I'm proud of that because I haven't changed. Like, you just said all those stats there. In the big picture, that doesn't really matter to me. Maybe when I've retired, it's more about, am I building those connections? Do I have the chemistry? Do I have the support, the respect, the trust? And that goes both ways. And are we building something special, and embracing the hard and enjoying the journey, because it is hard what we do, but I love it even when it is hard. But, being around people that you can enjoy that with, that's important as well, because it's tough with what we do. And it does. I always say, people say, what's the hardest thing about being a head coach? I said, it's lonely at the top. So, yeah. You want to try and be surrounded by people that, who can support you on this journey.
Sandy, there's literally I had to skip so many questions, but I'm so thankful for your time. This was amazing. I love hearing about your journey, not just as a coach, but even going back to your playing days. It was fun. So thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, Sue.
All right, that's it for our interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think my favorite part about talking with Sandy is she was a part of history in so many ways, but is still creating history. And people like that in our game, they're just part of the fabric. And anytime you get to hear more from them, to hear, how they were as a player, how they are as a coach, for me, that's just, I feel like I'm a student again, in a sense. Before I go, next week, we are having a special episode. It's just going to be a short one, but I think you guys are going to like it. So keep your eyes out for that next week. Also letting you know that we're taking a little break for the season after next week. But don't worry, you can still stay tapped in with us every week. See you guys later. This episode is a co-production of Together and Vox Media. Our producers are Tommy Alter, Jason Gallagher, Richie Bozick, Harry Krinsky, Jess Clarendon, and Melanie Carter. Support for Bird's Eye View comes from the all-electric Toyota BZ. The true test of a first-rate intellect is the ability to change one's mind. That's a quote from me. I just made it up. But it sounds good, doesn't it? So maybe it's time to revisit your thoughts on battery electric vehicles with the all-electric Toyota BZ. I've already told you about a few of its amazing features. Its EPA estimated driving range rating up to 314 miles, its versatile charging capabilities, available premium JBL 9-speaker audio system, its sleek and chiseled design. So I won't repeat myself. All I'll say is, go check it out for yourself. The all-electric BZ. One drive can change your mind. Learn more at toyota.com/BZ. Toyota. Let's go places.